Ricky Ginocchio, here with G&HTRANSPORT.
I'm Gianni Ginocchio. I drive this Nismo GTR GT3.
Okay, so can you introduce yourself and your team?
And my name is Kobus Jonker. I'm in charge of Franco Scribante Racing.
I was totally against the amount of laps. I really was.
I'm the type of guy that if I'm going to be paying to drive, I want to drive. The format doesn't really suit the car so much.
You know, our car's not built for that. Yes, we make a huge load of horsepower. It's obvious for everybody to see, but it was still built to the rules.
Side by side between Berrier and Jackson. Then it's Ant Blunden in the background.
Racing the McLaren MP412C GT3. Oh, our third race in this car. The Extreme Festival, I originally started in 2011 as the it was the Sure Extreme SuperCars, I think so. So we started racing 2011. It's been our home since then. We've recently started driving in the SAES Endurance Series. We kind of enjoy the long races now. We're lying second in the Class B Championship actually in the Endurance Series. So coming the end of November, beginning of December, we're going to try to win our class, myself and Ant Blunden. So yeah, we're looking forward to the next endurance. The Lambo was a phenomenal car. You know, you could adapt to that car quickly. The Super Trofeo is a lot different car to the GT3 in handling wise. I did find the Lambo was quicker in a straight line. The McLaren is not as fast as it is in a straight line, but the corner speeds on the McLaren is a completely different beast. The Lambo's got a very good home now, and now the McLarens have got a great home. So we've adapted to the GT3. We will get there, we will get the times. Jokes aside, the Lambo was another machine. Hey? That was an absolute animal, that car. Really it was. I'm kind of heartsore that it's not around, but the McLaren is slowly but surely filling its place.
We've got the 997 twin turbo Porsche. It's actually a 2008 model, and the difference between our car and a lot of the other cars is we call it a home build. It's a proudly South African built car, and it's developed and built in Scribante Racing's workshop. Your power limits is endless always with a Porsche engine, and that was one of the reasons why we decided to go for the Porsche, not knowingly all the trials and tribulations we're going to have with it, but that was basically the starting point. I just think that South Africa mentality, you know, what we have achieved as South Africans ages ago, I think we still got that mentality. And it wasn't only that, we wanted to learn, you know, and the only way that you learn is when you make mistakes and you try things that 90% of the time doesn't work, but then when you do succeed, you know, it's just so much better than doing it yourself at the end of the day. And not only that, is we wanted to understand the platform and also service that same platform in our own workshop and make the parts locally, which just makes it better. You know, we don't have to send the engine overseas to get refreshed or buy parts at very expensive prices to just have the car running again. We make them, and I think that was one of the reasons. And it's not shooting anybody else down. It's just what we decided to do.
This is Gianni Ginocchio in the Bisc Logistics and Stradale Motorsport Nissan GTR. There is White, Jackson, Gianni Ginocchio. Oh, Gianni Ginocchio coming together there with Jackson. Modak had to come out of that completely, and here comes Retta. Retta going to try and pounce. Marco Retta going to try and pounce on Modak as they come alongside each other up towards turn 2.
I'm Gianni Ginocchio. I'm 43 years old. I've been racing since I was a kid, but mostly motocross. Then moved up to cars in 2008. I drove for G&HTRANSPORT for a good 10-12 years. then transitioned from G&H to Stradale Motorsports in 2022. I drive this Nismo GTR GT3. So I've been driving in Extreme SuperCars since the very first race. Originally started as Ultimate Street Car, and I think that was in 2010, 2011. So in total, I think I've missed about 5 races in all the years doing the Extreme SuperCars.
Can you explain to us why the car behind you is not a Nissan GTR R35?
Okay, so basically, although it looks like one, it isn't one. The car's built from the Nissan factory, RJN Motorsports overseas, to compete in the GT3 racing series. So ultimately, your R8 GT3, the Lamborghini, the Porsche, the McLarens, they're all in the GT3 category. This car is purpose built, it's 2-wheel drive, it's 500 kilograms lighter than a road car. It doesn't run the horsepower of the road car. It's got a purpose built motor from Nismo. If you look at the chassis, even the chassis doesn't say Nissan on it. It says Nismo. The aero is completely different, it's wider, it's everything that a GT3 race car is, this is it. This is a poster car. This is the original Gran Turismo race car. You know, when I saw it, I loved it, wanted it, had to have it, and Charles made it possible and brought it in for me. Jason, to be honest, this car's not suited really for this. This car's suited to do longer races, you know, which most GT3s are. They're suited to do longer races. They're not one-lap wonders. They're not here to win a time attack. They're here to race. They're built to race. They're built to last. And I feel the format doesn't really suit the car so much.
I was totally against the amount of laps. I really was, because at the end of the day, a lot of guys have built purpose-built cars that were built for 12 laps on their fuel and their capabilities. So it's called a sprint race for a reason, and we should be keeping it as a sprint race. If we want to race endurance, there's the SAES. Let's go race endurance there.
Lamborghini's now coming up close and personal as Stuart White joins the GT3 battle. He should be able to get through on these two. But they're going to, of course, fight for honours on track. Not going to make it easy.
I was very pro for it. You know, I was trying to spearhead it, to be quite honest with you. You know, I sat down with my team, which, you know, Uncle Harry, Charles, and we spoke about it, and we asked, where are we going with this? And we were all under the same thing, saying, you know, longer races, longer races, longer races. I'm the type of guy that if I'm going to be paying to drive, I want to drive. This kind of car doesn't break a sweat in 15 minutes, in essence. It doesn't break a sweat. The reliability on these cars is amazing. As you can see, you just look through the Kyalami 9 hour, you look at the Bathurst, you look at Lamar went GT3 cars this year. They're factory cars, they're built to do it, and I'm very, very pro on a longer race.
We don't want to compete in longer races because our car's not built for it. It's just from our point of view and the spectator point of view that after the 10th lap and you start lapping the back markers, you don't know who's second, third, fourth or fifth anymore. It just becomes a no-show at the end of the day, and the only thing that's passing is the front guys is passing the back markers, and that's one of the reasons. And one of the other reasons is, you know, like I said, is we've done the endurance scene. There was also a longer sprint race series for the specific cars that wanted to do that. And we're just not for that. You know, our car's not built for that. Yes, we make a huge lot of horsepower. It's obvious for everybody to see. But it was still built to the rules. You know, there was no horsepower rule. There was no weight rule when we built the car. And the series worked at that time. And it grew as well with the same set of rules. Another factor is our fuel tank is much smaller than what the longer races cars is. And not only is it much smaller, is we use a whole lot of more fuel. And then obviously on those amount of laps is everything starts overheating, our car's making a lot of horsepower, and we didn't build it for that amount of laps. I mean, if we knew that from the beginning, then we would have started from day one fresh on a fresh slate and built a car for that, but we didn't want to compete in that, so we wouldn't have built a car for that. So I think that's my take on it. And everybody's got their own thing, you know. I don't judge other people for wanting to race more, you know. Like I made the suggestion is, if you want to make the laps longer and just do 20 laps of 2 races, why don't you do 12 laps of 3 races? We're up for that. And then you got 3 starts, which in my opinion, and I think a lot of spectators will tell you, a start is very exciting. You know, then you got 3 exciting starts, and you got 12 laps where you at least know who's second, third, fourth, or fifth. So that's just my view. You know, I know everybody else's view would change, but that's our take on it, and that's how we feel about it.
So we got Derby Jabir ahead of 3 hard-charging Lamborghini Hurricanes. And looks like it's a great start coming out of the General in the background as well, trying to find a way through there on Charles Orangi's.
It does happen, and if it happens according to the rules, how many times you're allowed to block, and because if you just carry on blocking, in my view, you're pisgat. If you can't win by sheer praise, try and block now and then. It's racecraft, I agree with that, but being silly about it, you know, you actually think that you are a good driver, but nobody else thinks you are. So you know, at the end of the day, race fair, we are known as a team. If we lose, we might be internally sour about it because nobody likes to lose. But if we lose against good guys, we go and congratulate them, because that's why we're actually racing, is because the fast guys, they push each other to get faster. You know, and like if you look at this event, we were out for 4 months or about, and we came back, and our friends and our rivals, they definitely found pace. But that wakes us up again to understand that, look, we've been out for 4 months, these guys have found pace. We're not going to go and try and make them slower. We're now going to have to go and catch them. We always in the mindset of we want to build fast cars to go fast, not build fast cars to make them slower.
I want to win Class A, move to Class A+. I don't think I can chase guys like Franco. His car's so fast. But it would be nice to be in a Class A+, unrestricted. I don't want to drive a GT3 restricted. We've got some good friends that are in A+, and I'd like to go mix it up with them. And I'd like to beat my brother. I want to chase Godzilla down with a McLaren. I want to. But Johnny's got that GTR, it's firing on all cylinders. That's a good car. And I do believe one day we'll get there with a Max. But until such time, our dream is to chase the Class A+ cars.
No secret, Charles, my best mate, is, you know, we're 2 peas in a pod there. Charles and I will be partnering in the GTR at the 3-hour at Kailami. Then I will should be joining G&H. I'll be moonlighting as a 3rd driver in the 9-hour. You know, the lure of endurance racing just catches me the most. I've got to be honest, there's something about it. You know, the driver changes, the pit stops, it makes racing fun, you know, and even like Formula 1, the pit stops, it's fun to watch. You can win or lose a race, and that's why I like it.
We are leaning more and more towards our hill climb cars. We find the hill climb very exciting. Not that we don't find extreme exciting, but the hill climb is got a whole different vibe, and it's a new challenge. You know, it's different circuits. Like Swartkops has got the king of the top of the hill now, which we're gonna do anti-clockwise, and we tested the other day, and it's a new challenge. You know, it's something that we haven't done before. We never raced a circuit that way around, so that's nice. We enjoy that. With the Porsche, I think there's still room for development. We didn't have to develop it up till now, but if the pace is so quick and we decide to carry on racing it, then we'll obviously develop the car a little bit further to keep up with the pace again. But for now, I don't think there's any plan set in stone for what the plan is for next year. You know, it's when you're not at the circuit, you say to yourself, you don't miss it, and then when you get back at the circuit, you actually realize that you are missing it. You know, it's, for me personally, it's 20 years of coming to the circuit, so I know the ins and outs of motorsport and how things go, and to me personally, it looks like motorsport is slowly on the uprise again. You know, when I just started, motorsport was big. You had transport standing everywhere, and then it just fell flat on its face. And it looks to me like motorsport is on the up again, and which is a good thing.
Very talented drivers and a lot of close